I think that we can all agree that learning English or learning any language in particular takes time and dedication. And the most successful language learners, do you know what they do? They find a way for language to become a part or a habit of their daily routine or life. It becomes a habit like waking up in the morning, brushing your teeth, or getting ready for work. So my number one advice to you, my lovely learners, if you want to improve your English, is that your English practice should become a daily habit. And of course, I'm here to help you on your journey to fluency in English. So to help you with this, I'm going to share with you 4 things that you can and should be doing daily to help you improve your English. And yes, I am suggesting that you do these 4 things every day, but they're not huge tasks. And we're going to talk about how you can make them a little bit fun as well. So come check this out. Let's color. Hello, my lovely learners. I'm Tasha from Learning English with Tasha, or Tasha's English, across all of my social media. So the very first thing on my list is pronunciation. And yes, you should be practicing your pronunciation every day. And it's not to get rid of your accent. It's to make it clear enough so that others can comfortably understand when you speak. I can't tell you the amount of advanced students that I've had who've had amazing grammar and vocabulary skills, but so much trouble communicating because their accent makes it difficult for others to understand them. So, of course, all of this affects smooth, positive, comfortable conversations. Depending on where you learned English, your teacher may not have focused on pronunciation. It may not have been the priority at the time. If you learned English at school, your teacher's main priority was probably to get you high marks in an exam. Pronunciation was probably not their focus at the time. But in the real world, when you're using English to speak with other people, your pronunciation, vocabulary, and fluency when you speak is so important. So get into the habit of learning and using correct pronunciation today, because it's going to save you lots of headaches and confusion down the road. Just practicing your pronunciation every day is going to help you make noticeable improvements in a short space of time. So how can you start doing this? My number one recommendation is that you learn the IPA, the International Phonetic Alphabet. And if you don't know what it is, or you've never heard about it before, IPA is going to help you to pronounce correctly every single English sound. For example, using the correct English sound. Another great way for you to pronounce and practice your pronunciation is with my English in 3 minutes imitation lessons. So in these lessons, I help you to copy and shadow me as I speak by learning about a new vocabulary word. They are really awesome 5-minute quick videos that you can use and listen to at any time and have great practice with. So add them to a playlist and keep coming back to practice often. After you've practiced a lesson a few times, make a recording of yourself and compare it to my voice. Try to identify some of the mistakes that you're making with your pronunciation. I've added a link to my imitation videos in the description of this lesson. And I'll add a video at the end so that you can check it out as well. Another way that you can improve your pronunciation is to simply read out loud. Doing this every day is going to help your mouth muscles to get working and creating English sounds and getting more comfortable with it. It's as simple as that, and it doesn't even need to take that long. Just 5 or 10 minutes a day is plenty. Just make sure you're doing it consistently. And if you're feeling adventurous, you can even do it with some English songs. So grab your playlist and check it out. My second tip for you today is to absorb. Create one opportunity every day for you to absorb English. To absorb is to take in information. So you're like a sponge, soaking things up, taking in new ideas, new words, new ways of expressing yourself. And you can do this in so many different ways. You can listen to a podcast, an audiobook, you can watch an English movie, or any video on YouTube, like these ones. Or you can read a book or a blog post if you're into blogging. In fact, you probably want to mix this up during the week, right? Just to keep things a little bit interesting. A podcast on Monday, an audiobook on Tuesday, a YouTube video on Wednesday, whatever floats your boat. Now, again, this doesn't have to be a huge time-consuming task, but it's worth spending some time searching for the right type of content that suits you. It must be stuff that's interesting to you. So if you're into football or you're into makeup, cooking, gardening, then find videos, podcasts like these and listen to them. Read them. Or if you love the idea of sailing around the world like I'm into, I've been looking at these wonderful YouTube videos about life on board a cruise ship with one of my favorite YouTubers. She vlogs about her life sailing around the world as a figure skater. In fact, if you're interested, I'll leave a link in the description below. So the point here is to find something that interests you and excites you, because you need to look forward to doing it every single day so that it becomes a consistent habit. It shouldn't feel like a chore or I've got to do my English practice today again. So I have 2 recommendations for you for that. Firstly, you need to find a time that you're going to do it and declare it. That is your time to absorb English. So it could be on the bus whilst you're commuting to work, or whilst you're eating breakfast. I've always found that attaching a time to a routine helps to make it part of my daily habits. And whilst you're doing it, keep a notebook and a pen handy so that you can jot down expressions or new words that you've learned so that you can check them out later. And it's as simple as that. My third tip here for you today is to write. Writing every day has some amazing benefits. But before I talk about that, I want to make it crystal clear that I'm not talking about writing an essay, okay? I'm just talking about writing a few lines in a diary or personal journal, and nobody ever has to see it. It's just for you. So there's a few reasons why writing helps. It helps your vocabulary to stick, and writing is one of the best ways to recall new words and expressions that you've come across. When so many of my students have asked me, what's the best way to remember vocabulary? This is always my number one recommendation. So, as you're reading or watching TV and you come across new words and expressions, you can start to write them down, but you also start using them yourself. You begin thinking about sentences and your own ideas about how to use these. So that way you're producing your own sentences instead of other people's sentences. And it helps it just to stick in your mind better because you're using it. And then the best part is you can improve it. Because once you've written something, you can do so much with it. You can copy or paste it in a grammar or spell checker to help you identify some of the mistakes that you're making. And once you're finished writing, leave it for a few days or a few weeks even, and then come back to it. See if you can make any improvements to it, or use a thesaurus to look up some synonyms to replace the basic words that you have used with more advanced alternatives. And I've done a wonderful video looking at basic and advanced alternatives, which I'll leave a link to in the description for you to check out. So these are just a few ideas, but getting into a daily writing practice creates so many opportunities for you to apply what you've learned, or what you've seen, or what you've experienced in English, and then review it and improve it. And my last tip for you, tip number 4, is to join a discussion. Join a discussion. Joining an English discussion about stuff that's interesting to you. Now, this sounds serious and complicated, but trust me when I say it's not. It is very simple and easy to do. I'm just talking about joining an active group or online community where there are people interacting. They're sharing their ideas, they're giving their opinions, and you can respond to them. So you can comment and actually be part of the discussion as it happens in real time. Now, this can be in person depending on where you live and the types of communities or gatherings that you have in your place, in your community. but it can easily be part of an online community as well, which are quite popular these days because you don't even need to leave the house. Plus, that makes it, even easier to create a daily habit around it because it's simply about checking in and seeing what everyone else has been up to and joining in the discussion. And of course, giving your 2 cents worth. So, Tasha, how do you find these places? It takes a little bit of work. You can't just Google cooking and join the first group that you see. Join a few different ones and see which one is most active, which ones has really great, interesting discussions happening in it. Sometimes nothing gets posted in these groups, and that's not really helpful for you, right? So I would start by writing down your top 5 hobbies or interests. Don't start with English language. Are you into politics, sports, geography, travel, or are you a foodie like me? I mean, you probably already follow people or are a part of groups that are like this. So all you need to do is to commit to checking in once, at least once per day, and share your opinion or comment on somebody else's. It's not more complicated than that. So if someone shared something and they're asking for opinions, don't just scroll by if that's a topic you're interested in. It's an opportunity for you to share. So stop and think of a way that you can contribute. And speaking about having daily conversations, my new conversation classes are now open for bookings on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays. Online via Zoom. Now, these classes are 90 minutes in length and costs only $8 per session per person. This is not a subscription, so you are free to join in at any time you feel that you need some conversation practice to improve your English with a community of international learners like yourself, which also includes me, of course, as your tutor, as we meet literally to just converse in English and absorb the language, which of course helps you to improve your listening, your speaking, pronunciation, and also to improve your expressions in English, and helps you to become a more confident learner and speaker on your journey to becoming fluent in English. But remember, I only work with 8 learners at a time, of course, so that everyone gets individual attention in these groups and to make them more worthy of you being there. And I will leave a link, of course, to the sign up form in the description below. But I also want to know if you're already a part of some Facebook groups, some meetup groups, or some local conversation groups in your community. What kind of things do they discuss, and do you ever contribute? And to wrap things up, if you can bring some of these 4 things into your daily routines and make them part of your daily habits, you will absolutely, without a doubt, improve your English. So remember, it takes a little bit of time to create good habits. It's not as simple as saying, I'm going to do it. So, of course, I've got a couple of extra tips to help you get started. Do your research first. My number one extra tip, do your research first. Number two is to find a blog or TV series. Find a blog or TV series that will keep you interested. You don't have to look for something to do, okay? Give yourself a week or two to find the right community to join. Find the right community to join and to be part of the discussions with. Then create a regular schedule to help you get started. Create a regular schedule to help you get started. And really, I just mean deciding when you are going to do these things. So, for example, pronunciation can be in the morning whilst you're preparing your morning coffee, if you're a coffee person, I'm not, or you're preparing your eggs and toast, which I'm a great fan of, or as you're getting ready to go to work and listening to your favorite podcast on your way to work, and you're writing down your words on the bus. On your lunch break, it might be the best time to check in your groups and write a comment or share your own opinion. Maybe it was something you saw on the way there, or somebody's inviting everyone to something special, like a football game or drinks in the afternoon. Then finally spend 10 minutes at the end of your day writing about what you learned just before you've had your supper. Simply put that on repeat. And very quickly, you'll find out that English has become part of your daily routine. So thank you so much for joining me today. And remember, you can connect with me across all of my social media on TikTok, Instagram, and of course here on YouTube. I truly hope that you found all of these suggestions useful. And do let me know if you found some of these helpful for you, or if you're already doing and putting some of them into practice. And let me know how it goes. And as promised, here is one of my imitation videos to help you work on your pronunciation. I'll see you there and in our next lesson. Love you guys to the moon and back.